Hello and welcome to a special edition of Pet Watch, our monthly program about the Williamson County Animal Center. I'm Debbie Sims and I'll be your host today, and I'm in a very special place. I'm at the new shelter and our shelter director, Ondrea Johnson, is with me today. How exciting is this?
Oh my gosh, I think I've had a permagrin for about the last 3 months.
Now, you told me you were out here yesterday and you actually got lost. I think that's an interesting story. The inside is so spacious and beautiful, but we're right at the front right now where the public will drive up and where you'll come to adopt animals or turn in strays that you found so we can reunite them with their owners. But there's a lot of noise in the background. There are a lot of people working on the facility today. And Ondrea could just point out to us, please, the main entrance area here.
Yeah, so right behind me here will be the entrance to the clinic. It's going to be a totally different service to the community when we move over here. We'll have public spay neuter. We already do that for cats, obviously, but we'll add some more services, and you can just go right into the clinic when you get here. Right behind me is intake, as Debbie said, where you come in with your strays that you find, or if you need to make an owner surrender. And then over to the right of that is our adoption entrance, and when you go inside you'll see that it makes quite an impression. It's going to be a place that everybody wants to visit.
Well, there's 33,000 square feet to explore, so let's go inside and see some of the areas. Welcome back. We're now inside the facility in something we've never had before, an education room, multi-purpose room. Ondrea, tell us about the possibilities here are limitless.
Oh my goodness. Well, Debbie, as you know, we've had lots of opportunities for groups in the community to come out and do things at the shelter, and of course that's what we want. We want people to be enjoying what we have to offer, but we have had literally no space to host people. So we envision, Girl Scout troops coming in, and summer camps for kids, and opportunities to educate the public, or for rescue groups to be able to use this space. We can hold 100 people, and this room can be divided into two, so 2 rooms of 50. The possibilities are literally limitless.
And it will have state-of-the-art audio-visual equipment.
It will.
Now it's kind of a centralized area during construction, but it will be decked out with tables and chairs and audio-visuals for presentations. And we hope different community groups will want to come out, maybe have their monthly meeting out here.
Right.
That would be fun, just to see the new animal center and see what we have to offer. And I feel your pain, because I've had to take 13 little Daisy Scouts through the current shelter, and it's very hard. There's no place. And I know you're looking forward to being able to have a meeting at a table with more than 2 people.
Yes.
So this is really a multi-purpose and education in my eyes. It's about 1,300 square feet. It's a big room, and we're very excited with the possibilities we can have here. Let's move on and see another area of the new shelter. Welcome back. We've moved deeper into the new building, and we're in the actual cat area at this time. If you can visualize, this wing of the building is basically 4 cats, right,
Yes.
Ondrea? And I looked back at our original wish list. It had about 25 things we absolutely wanted in the new shelter, and I checked off every one. So every goal has been met. This is a functional space for the next 25 years.
Right.
And what makes that so important with the county's growth and with the programs that we offer?
Well, that's a great question, Debbie, because as you know and everyone knows, we have a real boom in population here in the county. And there are all sorts of formulas that go into predicting how many animals we'll need to house over the next 20 to 25 years. One of the things that they really strive when they're setting up a new shelter these days to implement programs that will actually help people keep their pets and also cut down on the numbers of strays that we have to house. So this facility is designed with the idea that we will be able to do both. We'll be able to house the demand that we have for animals over the next 20 years, regardless of the population, but also keeping the population down through programming. So we've tried to design a building, and I think we've done a pretty good job at it, with the help of Shelter Planners of America and 906 Studios, we have, I think, designed a building that's going to grow with the county and is going to really accommodate our needs for both population and programming.
So it's not really a matter of let's add more kennels.
Right.
Because that, if you have to add more kennels and double your kennel size, it means there's a problem in the county that you're not addressing. So we have increased it. I think this facility holds about 85 dogs and maybe 100 cats at capacity. But the square footage is extended, and the concentration is on other things.
Right.
Like education. And comfort. Let's talk about the cats.
Oh my
because
goodness.
the nature of sheltering for cats is now to put them in what we call free roaming cat rooms. And behind us down this hall, there are a number of openings. Tell us what those are.
Yes, we have 9 free roaming cat rooms in this building. Each room can hold 9 cats. So we have the ability to house 81 cats in a free roaming environment, which is healthier for the cats. It creates a more healthy, happy environment. It's more home-like, so that when people come in to adopt, they can interact with the cats in a more natural environment, which helps them get adopted more quickly. It's just overall, for the public experience and for the cats as well, it's just best in class.
And our volunteers play a vital role in that too.
Yes.
And they currently, there's one free roaming cat room at the existing shelter. So to be able to separate those cats down into smaller groups will give the volunteers more time to socialize.
Right.
They play an important role in understanding the cats' personalities and what kind of home they need to be in.
Right, absolutely.
So in these rooms, these free roaming cat rooms, there's also a little cat door, and where they can go outside.
Right.
And what's out there on the back side?
So on the back side, each cat will have what we call a catio, which is an enclosed patio space that is to be used by the cats. So each one will have a cat door where they can go in and out sort of at their leisure during the day when we're open, and then we'll have the ability to lock those at night so that the cats will be safely inside and not, be out after dark.
Right. So it's open air, but it's covered.
Yes. It's completely enclosed, but it's screened on the front side with a special metal mesh that the cats obviously can't claw through, and nothing can get through to the cats. But they can get out and enjoy the sunshine or the fresh air. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, and even our little catio we have now, we often find them hidden up there at night because they like the little air, to be able to see what's going on and watch for birds.
They love to watch for birds.
And the birds will be protected, just like the cats will. Also, in this area is a area for kitten adoption. There is an area for cats that can't be in a free roaming room for some reason. There are other areas like our offices for the people that clean, and that's another thing we have in this building. We have stations where our staff can do laundry and cleaning and feeding without going back to a central location every time.
Exactly.
So all of that, like you mentioned, is part of the Shelter Planners of America idea. Many of their ideas have been put into place in this building because they did consult on it. So it's going to be exciting for staff and the public and our volunteers. They're all going to have wonderful new spaces to work in. Let's move on and see some other areas in the new building. Hi, we've now moved to our veterinary clinic area, and as Ondrea mentioned at the top of the show, there's an outside entrance into this clinic for the public to come in for the different spay-neuter programs that we have, Ondrea. Last year we did 2,700 spay-neuters. A number of those were, of course, our own animals that are being adopted, but we do have a number of other programs which will take place in here.
Right.
This area is huge. It is going to be so wonderful. If there's a drastic change for anyone, it's our veterinary clinic staff.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you think there's anything that we're missing? I mean, we have an ICU, we have a beautiful surgical suite, we have a prep area. These are things that they don't have right now. What are the advantages? I mean, to me, they're obvious of being able to take care of the animals more closely and retain them. And I think there are actually 12 dog kennels in here and 32 cat kennels.
Right.
The recovery process after a spay-neuter is short, but at least the animals can be better monitored here.
Right.
What about the ventilation? That's an issue in many shelters, is the air from one area going to another. Like if we had a sick animal, that air could go to a well animal. How did Shelter Planners of America address the air intake in exchange here?
Well, we currently don't have the ability to separate sick animals from well animals in terms of our ventilation system. We can put them in a different room, but our entire shelter shares pretty much one ventilation system, or we have a few with sections of the building. Here, every holding area that would be for sick animals will have a separate airflow, so that none of the air that those animals are breathing and putting out will go to any of the rest of the building. That's important, particularly with cats, for things like upper respiratory infection, because that's obviously an airborne, like the human cold, so that you don't have that air recirculating to well cats. It's also important for something, as you know, we deal with every summer, which is ringworm. We see a lot of ringworm here in the south because it's humid and the atmosphere is conducive to spreading ringworm. But it's also airborne. It's a spore, so that also needs a separate air vac system, and we will have that in this building. It's going to be very nice, not only for the humans who are trying to care for the animals, but for the animals as well.
And this surgical suite that's here is where our doctor will be performing a number of those, all the spay-neuter surgeries. So to imagine that 3,000 a year will be done in this room, and it will have its own system and it'll be sealed off.
Right, and it will have its own temperature control, because surgical suites really should be at a lower temperature for the health of the animal. And actually, our entire clinic has a capacity to do 8,000 surgeries a year. Obviously, as we grow as a county, the need for the number of surgeries will increase, because our intake of animals will naturally increase over time. So we have some room to grow in this building for sure.
Yeah, and then multiple doctors can be operating on multiple tables at a time. And right now I think you only have 2 tables that are really close together. So it's going to be state of the art. The whole building is just going to be such an upgrade for every single person that comes inside. And we talked earlier, we already have free spay neuters for outdoor cats. We have programs to try to keep animals in their home, then we spay neuter them and then give them back.
Right.
And you mentioned we may be able to start some public programs.
Right. We will be able to implement some lower cost spay neuter options. Right now we do have some parameters in place where we can help a few animal owners, that are in a certain income bracket. But we'll be able to expand that program when we get here and just really offer more help to more individuals. As you know, Debbie, and as I'm sure our viewers know at this point if they watch the show, the best thing that we can do for animals in our community is to sterilize, spay, neuter, so that we don't have unwanted animals that are out in the community or that we're trying to find homes for.
And one of the core programs of that is the community cat program, which we really implemented in earnest 2 years ago, and we've been able to do about 1,100 of the last 2 years, and we're on track to do that again. And that some people call that TNR, trap, neuter, and return, but it's been a very successful program.
It has.
And we still encourage people to participate, because that program will go on and on until the estimated 50,000 stray cats. It's hard to believe, but in a county this size, statistically, there are probably that many.
Yes, and people probably don't realize with the development that's happening here in the community, every time a new subdivision, the ground is cleared, cats show up at neighboring subdivisions that they never had seen before, because there are a lot of cats who are, really living more or less like raccoons and squirrels and whatever out in the wooded areas, and once that home is disturbed, those cats then find themselves displaced, and all of a sudden communities are trying to deal with that population. So we really want to partner with those communities and get those cats in and get them healthy and spayed and neutered.
Get your cat spayed or neutered. Call us.
Yes.
All right, let's move on and see some other new areas. We're now at the back of the shelter, which frankly I find more impressive than the front. It's beautiful. You can see these large openings here. This is the dog wing of the shelter. So we transition down a hallway, a covered pathway to the dog area. So it's completely separated.
Right.
Now, what about all these huge openings?
So all of these openings, very similar to the cats. Dogs like to have fresh air. So these will be garage doors that can be opened, you know, when the weather is permitting. And the dogs will be able to get fresh air, fresh light from the outside. One thing that we love about this shelter, Debbie, is that every animal will have natural light. So everything that stays here, no matter how long, will be exposed to the natural, you know, day and nighttime rhythms, which we of course don't have in our current center. And we'll be able to house, we have some what we're calling jumbo kennels. So our large dogs that we get a lot of Great Pyrenees, Great Danes. Larger dogs will have a little bit bigger kennel so they don't have to squeeze into those small kennels. So we're really excited about how customized this shelter is for the animals.
And there's even a special area for puppies when we do have puppies. That makes the visitation with the public coming in and makes it easier to see the puppies. Let's talk about the kennels, because many people see, in their mind, they see a kennel being a cinder block with a fencing around it, or unable to see the animal well. So these new kennels are all see-through doors?
Right. These new kennels, there won't be any chain link in this facility, which is nice because I feel like chain link makes it feel more like a prison. We will not have the painted cinder block like we have now. We will have what's called glazed block, which is essentially almost bulletproof, it seems like. It won't scratch off or peel off, so it'll be nice and clean and fresh, and it will stay that way for the lifetime of the building.
And that's all part of the planning process. And then the cleaning on the staff side, the cleaning is so much easier because you got a non-porous surface.
Yes, and we will have really upgraded cleaning systems. We will have, you know, they'll be overhead so there aren't hoses to trip over and things. So, I mean, this building has really been in detail. Every little detail has been thought through.
It sounds like it. So we have an area here for adoption. We have an area for big dogs, medium dogs, puppies, and then we have an area for animals that come in as stray, and we keep for 5 days and we assess them. We have a testing room to do our assessments, and we have an area where we could keep animals in an emergency. We have an overflow area. So it seems like everything's been thought of for these dogs, and they're going to be so happy to have those doors open and be able to see out. Now, the back of the shelter also has some land attached to it, and the Mack Hatcher extension, so people can orient themselves, is just less than 100 yards from where we're standing. And that ends at Highway 96, and you can see West Haven is in the distance here. So that kind of gives them a perspective of where we're located. And if you go down Highway 96 and look back to the right, the extension of Mack Hatcher is not open yet, but you can see the building.
Yes, yes.
So look for it. What are some of the other things we can do out here with this space?
Well, we will have, you know, walking trails because the volunteers are a big part of our program. We have shifts of volunteers that come in throughout the day to walk the dogs and socialize the dogs. So of course we'll need walking trails for them. We'll have 3 really large play yards, so we will be able to do play groups still, and then have yards where people can go and exercise the dogs, throw the balls or whatever. The other really exciting thing, Debbie, is that this entire property will be enclosed with a fence. So in the very, very rare occasion that a dog gets loose from a walker, which almost never happens, but occasionally, it will be completely enclosed. So there will be no escapes to Mack Hatcher.
Our staff's going to enjoy the fencing and also the staff parking area where our officers can come in if they have a late night rescue to bring in. They'll come through a gated area on the far side of the building, be able to intake that animal quickly and safely into a brand new kennel until they get it processed the next morning. So that's exciting. And at the end of this building, there's a large indoor training room. So what do you anticipate using that for? We certainly don't have that now.
No, we don't have that now. And it's exciting because when the weather's really bad, if you have a dog that enjoys, you know, chasing a ball or something, most people don't want to go stand out in the rain and throw the ball for the dog in the play yard. So we'll be able to use it for that, but I really envision a time when we'll be able to offer basic training classes to the public. A lot of times people will surrender their dog because of what we call behavior issues that might be able to be fixed with basic training. So we hope to be able to offer that type of service to the public in the future.
Okay, so they'll exercise in there as well as train.
Yes.
Okay, so it probably should just be an indoor dog room.
Yes.
Whatever we need. And you're right. There's nothing worse than a bunch of sad dogs on a rainy day, or a bunch of soggy volunteers.
Right.
Now, beyond that, the 3 play yards you mentioned that are outdoor, one of them will be covered.
One will be covered. You know, we run play groups every weekday, rain or shine or snow, no matter what. And our volunteers and staff that work on that team are so committed to making sure that dogs get to socialize every day, that they will stand out in any type of weather, including the sweltering heat in the summer. So this play yard will have actually a permanent structure, much like a picnic pavilion that you see at the park.
Sure.
It'll be similar to that, but it will be of course it'll be open air. It won't be warm in the winter, but it will at least be covered from the elements.
Now, access to the shelter, there'll be signage leading people down Carlisle Lane if they're coming from 96, or leading people from downtown Franklin out Del Rio Pike.
Right.
So watch for those signs. There's no direct access to Matt Catcher because of state restrictions, but you can't see the back of it as you come down Matt Catcher. Then circle around for about a minute and you'll be there. So what should we watch for? When is this going to be finished, and what kind of things do we have planned for the opening?
Well, we are anticipating moving in November. Our builder, Solomon, has done a great job. They've stayed on schedule. Even with all the snow and ice and the floods and everything, they've pretty much...
We certainly know they're working today.
Yes,
there's like 100 cars and trucks out here, people everywhere and hammering. So
yes. So we seem to be on schedule. We feel like we'll move in the middle of November. We're very excitedly planning our procession from the old shelter to the new shelter with all the animals. So, you know, watch for more information about that, because that's going to be a very exciting time for us. We want absolutely the public to come out and engage with the animals and take advantage of the services that we're going to offer here, and just come and look at it and see, because really this is our entire community's shelter.
It is.
You know, we've done this as a community. County Commission and our mayor and friends of Williamson County Animal Center have all really been a huge part of making this happen.
Yes, they have, and they've stepped up in every respect and allowed you to coordinate the development of this beautiful new building. So we certainly want everybody in the county to come out and see it. Thank you for giving us a little tour today. I hope each of you will watch the news and local media. Coming around October, you'll probably start to hear about a grand opening date, and we hope to see you out here at the new Williamson County Animal Center.